Hello everyone, welcome to Court with Krissy. The reason the jury box is blurred? Judge Meinecke has a school field trip. Don't worry, none of these kids got cuffed. This isn't Detroit, this is the burbs. But in the penalty box, we've got an Arizona State student with some probation violations. Judge, make him look good for the jury. I hope you like it. Court with Krissy is now in session.
All right, who is super confident that they memorize their word? They're like, I got this. I don't need to look at my sheet. I know this word for sure. All right, Lorraine. All right, so Lorraine, can you stand up and tell me what was your word?
If he or she is guilty or not guilty of
What was the word?
Oh, I think it was blank. I think it was like plea.
Plea, perfect. And you said a person could plead guilty or not guilty?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we did it in reverse, Lorraine. All right, you gave me the definition, then the word, but that's totally fine. Great job, good work. That's right. So a plea, we just saw a plea with Mr. Campella. He entered a guilty plea to his violation. We were here a couple cases ago. A person could plead not guilty on a crime, but good job, Lorraine. Who else knows their word? Ethan.
Felony, a sentence over 1 year.
Yeah, a felony is a case that carries with it a maximum penalty of over a year. Very good. All right, Marley.
It's medicine that a doctor could prescribe to you, but some people make their own drug, and the doctor one is legal, and the one where some people make it by themselves and buy it is they do it.
Very good, very good. So students, I know you were super focused on the one word that you had to learn, but that vocab list is yours to keep. And I want you, when you get a chance, to look at Marley's word. She had drugs, and you'll see that she had one of the longest definitions, right, Marley? All right, that's because it's one of the most complicated subjects that not just for judges and attorneys, but also for students, teachers, people in the community. Drug, it's very complicated because, like what Marley said, drugs in and of themselves are oftentimes the medicine you get from a doctor, right? I'm sure everybody here has had to go to the doctor before because you're sick. And then when you are done with the appointment, your parents have to go to like CVS or Walgreens to get you medicine, right? And next time I want you to really look at the medicine bottle because it has your name on it. It doesn't have somebody else's name on it, it has your name because the doctor meant the medicine for you. And have you ever seen how like some of them have directions like take in the morning, take at night, take with food, right? Okay. Well, where we run into trouble with drugs is when people take medicine that doesn't belong to them, or they take it more than they're supposed to. Well then we don't know what kind of impact it have in their body. It could be very dangerous to them physically, or it could cause them to act out in ways that aren't consistent with who they are. You know, especially if they get behind the wheel of a car, or if they, maybe they get really angry, but that's a dangerous situation. And then Marley talked about the situation where people go out and then on the streets and they buy drugs. Well, then we really don't know. We don't have, it's very concerning because that could be very dangerous to someone's health, or again, cause them to act out in a way that's not who they are. So students, when I was in 5th grade, I'll tell you right now, if I even heard the word drugs, I thought I was going to get in trouble, all right, just for hearing it. All right. Remember what we talked about when it comes to information. Information is power. We talked about that. All right. And not just the kind of power to rule the world, but the kind of power that will make sure that you get to your best life. So if you have questions about those things, I promise your parents will not get mad at you if you ask them questions. And they might not have all the answers. They have to look it up. You've made them smarter. All right. So when it comes to something like drugs, let's make sure we get all the right information so we can make healthy decisions. Is that fair? Can we do that? All right. Who else has got to work for me? All right, Micho.
Points on driving records, like.
All right, stand up for me, Micho. What are points on driving record?
Like if you get a ticket, then you get some points, and if you get enough points, they take your driving license away.
That's exactly right. So each ticket carries with it a certain number of points. The more dangerous the behavior, the more points. And if you keep driving poorly and you get enough points, you can have your license taken away. Good job, Michio. All right, so I'm going to call a few more cases and then I'll come back to you. Okay? All right, Sranga? All right, 24-00297, Maxwell P.
Good morning, Your Honor. Mark Arnold here on behalf of Probation.
Good morning. Thank you, Your Honor. John, I got the same on behalf of Mr. Keith, who's on the screen now. So
Mr. Pete, state your name.
Maxwell, Hayden Pete. Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. Today's date and time set for violation. Remind me again, Zoom.
Yes,
He's out of state, right?
yes, he's going to school currently at Arizona State University.
All right, so what are the allegations of this probation violation? He was placed on probation for operating while visibly impaired.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. P has failed to appear for probation appointments on October the 21st, November the 15th, and December the 9th. He's also failed to test as directed via the sober device, but has 25 missed screens with 21 late screens, and has failed to provide proof of counseling for the months of October, November, and December. And Your Honor, if I may just give a brief insight with the sober device. So Mr. Pete and I, we haven't been meeting for the dates in question, but afterwards I would run his report and nothing would come up. I've never received anything regarding any late or missed tests. Looking deeper into his report, House Arrest Services actually never put in a specific schedule like I originally told them. I emailed them and they indicated that they apologized for that. They did put him now under the Mountain West time zone. So essentially before he was testing and sometimes random tests throughout the day. And unfortunately they weren't consistently at the times that we originally kind of agreed upon. Mr. Pete and I did have a conversation related to that. He did indicate that he believes he was on par with all the sober testing. I went back into it. So unfortunately, there was a little bit of a gimmick with the sober device because House Arrest never actually put a actual schedule in place for that.
So let's make sure I understand this. So SoberLink normally, it's a device that's portable, which makes it easier for Mr. Pete to be able to go to school. And it makes it also good for the court to know that he's not drinking while he's at school. And he can carry it around with him, and he's supposed to test at 8 a.m., 4 p.m., and 10 p.m., right?
That's correct.
Okay. So for whatever reason, the testing agency didn't set up specific times. So he was testing 3 times a day, but if he was early or late on any of these, we wouldn't know because they didn't set up specific times.
That's correct.
Okay? So one, that's not really on Mr. Pete, that's not on you, Mr. Marana. Since we put those in place, how's he been doing with 8, 4, and 10 since they've been put in place?
So there has been still some missed and late tests. I do have kind of an updated SoberLink sheet, if I may, Coach. So they were able to. I know Mr. Pete and I did have a conversation when this all went down as well. He indicated he believed that it was at 2 p.m. his test. So there were some tests that were at 2 p.m. But there has been some late and missed tests, like for in
yeah, I mean, obviously, we said at 8, 4, and 10, that's where I wanted to test, but 2 o'clock's not a terrible time to check in. That's also right in the middle of the day, so that's okay as well. But Mr. Rankin, have you talked to Mr. Pete?
I have, Judge, and just regarding that, what he indicated to me is that he had a class schedule issue, a conflict regarding the 4 p.m. time. He thought that he had shorted up with Mario regarding switching that to 2 p.m. I've not seen that sheet that you're looking at, Judge. I trust what's been put on the record regarding at least miss and lates. But what we talked about, Mr. Pete and I, is that perhaps we can really nail it down as to what times he can do it. He has a different schedule this semester that just started, so he can offer those times. And I told him the court will work with you regarding school.
The thing that I think is absolutely crucial that Mr. Pete has to be locked in on is meeting with Mr. Marana. Like a missed appointment, like all of these issues, Mr. Pete, you could have resolved them if you would have talked to Mr. Marana at one of these appointments. He missed 3 appointments?
Yes.
That's absolutely unacceptable. And did you email him and check in with him?
Yes, I email after every missed appointment. I'll email the missed appointment and then his next appointment. And that kind of was for the November 15th and the December 9th. So I was able to, when Mr. Pete came home for the holidays, was able to meet with him on the 30th of December. So we were able to square that away. And we did talk about that and the importance of making those meetings.
All right. Max acknowledged after the fact, Judge, that those emails did in fact arrive. He didn't look at them or didn't see them. And I told him, listen, you need to be more proactive. You need to make this more part of every day. You need to tighten this up because even though there's no recommendation for jail today, I told him you're on that path. If this continues, the next time you're before the judge, you probably have to come home and sit. So
I
he understands that.
And again, Mr. Pete, I know once you get out to Arizona and you got all of the commitments that you have as a student, it becomes that much more difficult to remember that you have obligations here in the state of Michigan, all right? But obviously you committed a criminal offense and you have to follow through on your obligations. And there are courts, and Mr. Angot would be, yeah, he certainly can mention that there are courts out there that would not have even allowed you to go, which would have been terribly detrimental to his academic opportunities. But there are those that are out there, or upon a first violation just said, you're not allowed to travel. I don't want that for you. I want you to take advantage of this really good educational opportunity that you have, but you've got to stay locked in with your obligations here. So if you have something that comes up, like a conflict with the schedule, so like when you talk to Mr. Morano, let's say you talk to Mr. Morano and you're like, I can test at 8 and 2 and 10. And then the week after you talk to Mr. Morano, a lab was added to your schedule, or you wanted to sign up for some extracurricular club and it meets at 2 o'clock. Well, then just call Mr. Morano and say, hey, can it be moved to 1 or to 3? We can make those adjustments. All right, so no more sort of sitting back and waiting for things to happen here. If you want to get this done in a timely fashion, let's get on the front foot. Let's try to get this going in a positive direction. Can you do that?
Yes, yes, Your Honor.
I mean, do you make it to all your classes?
Yes. Yep.
All right. So if you make it to all your classes, you can make it to your appointments with your probation officer. You can make it on time for your sober link. All right. We want to make sure we get this done the right way. I still have a lot of confidence in Mr. Pete. You know, from the time that we started, you know, I bet on him. I let him, you know, leave. I thought he's worth the court's additional sort of trust and accommodation. And I expect that after we've had this conversation, we won't have to have any more conversations like this going forward. Fair?
Fair. Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. I'm going to adjourn this violation 90 days. During those 90 days, I need him to engage with outpatient counseling. He hasn't done that yet, right?
That's correct. He is on a waiting list.
Judge is actually seeking a different agency because the waiting list has been a couple months now, so.
The sober links, I'm okay with 4 times a day. All right, because he was at 3 times, right?
That's correct.
All right, so you're recommending 5. I'd rather go 4 for 30 days and then back down to 3.
Judge, I think it's important to note that there, despite the fact of the imperfect testing protocol, there have never been any positive testing.
That's true. That's very encouraging, and I know that Arizona State is a very lively campus, and so there are plenty of temptations that are out there. So it does say a lot about the respect that he has for the court and his seriousness as a student, that it has gone at least that well when it comes to no positive tests. And as long as he stays in compliance, I will consider a community service sanction rather than any sort of jail sanction. Anything else that we need to add?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
All right. All right, Mr. Pete, you probably have some homework that you need to do, so get to it, and I'll see you back here in 90 days. Good luck.
Judge, if I may,
Thank you, Your Honor.
can Max shore up the testing times with Mario at a later time today? Or
Yes, he can do it. You can, Mr. Morano will reach out to you, all right? Make sure that you pick up the phone when he calls, all right?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, good luck.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a good day.
All right, who else knows their words? All right, Lorelai?
Probation. Judge can monitor someone if they're guilty of.
Right, and so basically we've set up conditions to make sure they follow them. Very good, Lorelai, well done. Uriah, which word? Okay, what's a prosecutor? That's right, that's the attorney that accuses someone of a crime. So very good, Uriah, that's a tough one, all right? Martina.
Arraignment hearing, that's when a person is claimed to be guilty of a crime, and in that moment they could plead guilty, not guilty, or no
Perfect, Mr. Meinecke. I think you do great.
Nailed it.
And she's got fantastic glasses. I love her glasses. They're so cool. All right, Mackenzie. All right, and what's not guilty?
When the person is accused of being guilty, but later in trial has proven to be not guilty.
That's right, where the evidence shows they're not guilty. Nadia? Nadia?
Misdemeanor offense, and it's when it's a crime less serious than a felony, and they're most of in district courts.
That's very good, Nadia. Well done. We're on a roll, Billy.
Violation. If the person is away, the judge said, and they could go to jail or prison.
It could on a probation violation. Good. Grant?
Guilty. When a judge or a jury finds someone has broken the law.
We're on a roll here, Ms. Meinecke. You must have told them this is a big deal, so they're locked in.
This is just how amazing they are all the time.
All right, Henry.
When someone swears to tell the truth.
Okay, and did you notice how I had put, when I was taking a plea, I had to first put the person under oath, I made them raise their right hand, you see that? All right, a couple more, and then I see that Paulina and Terry here, so they gotta get going, okay. All right, Zoe?
Probationary period, a length of time a person is put on probation by the judge.
That's right, all right, anybody else? Okay, I think we're good for today. I'm gonna take a quick break to get the students on to their next part of their tour, and I should be back in about 5-10 minutes. Thank you very much.
Please rise.